Ah, Christmas. A day to spend time with loved ones, buy gifts that'll leave a freaking black hole in your wallet, and of course... Oh, fuck hole, poo-poo! Crap. But hey, I'm not here today to shove down religion down your throat or anything. I mean, do I look like some sort of priest to you? Yeah, didn't think so. No, today, I want to share with you a very special video game story close to my heart. An unforgettable memory, a harsh life lesson I learned on this day, exactly 14 years ago. I gave up on my first video game. Now you're reviewing with power. Modern games, retro games, what's the difference? I'm here to review games, and make a complete fool out of myself in the process. Whether a gem or a turd, I'll show you these games inside and out. You ready? Balrog's Nintendo Game Room. So, it was bound to happen. Many gamers at some point in their lives give up on a game, whether it being too hard, too boring, or, well, just doesn't feel like working. But when I was a kid, I was determined to beat any game given to me. I mean, you're talking to the guy who beat F-Zero X on Master Difficulty when I was 6. But this one game I got for Christmas was when I finally met my match. Welcome, my friends, to Power Quest for the Game Boy Color. It's just, no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't beat the 3rd level of this game. I tried again and again and again, but nothing I did seemed to be good enough. I eventually ended up just selling the game because I was just so crappy at playing it. But today, I'm gonna change all that. You see, a couple weeks ago I thought to myself, you know, I was only 6 years old when I played this game. It can't be that hard to beat this day and age. So I rebought the game off of Amazon for $2. Well, $6 with shipping and handling. So, time to see what I've been missing. So when you start up the game, you're greeted with this awesome, and I mean awesome, intro theme. Anyway, the story goes as follows. You live in a world where remote-controlled robot fighting is a huge craze. As you win more fights, you get more credits, which will get you new moves and attacks at the shop. And if you get strong enough, you can enter the national tournament and be the best modeler in the world. No, I'm serious, that's what they're called. It kind of feels like one of those Saturday morning cartoons we watched as kids. For better or for worse. So then the game cuts to a scene between you and your best friend Lewis. Man, this guy looks creepy. I mean, I understand we're working with the Game Boy Color here, but just look at this guy! His skin and hair matching kinda makes me uncomfortable. Well anyway, Lewis tells you about the aforementioned national tournament, and how both of you should train and enter. Only problem? You don't have a model. So of course, by a convenient turn of events, you win a contest that lets you get a free model voucher. That's some real Class A storytelling right there. Now there are 5 models you can choose from, with all of them having unique abilities. The Max model is the balance character, the Gong model is the heavy hitting character with slow speeds, the Speed model is, well, you can take a guess. And she has jiggle physics, freaking 8-bit tits. Whoa! The Axe model, which is well rounded with high attack and looks like, and the Lawn model, which can do this. Well anyway, you pick your character and get thrown in the overworld, where you can fight other modelers to your heart's content. Beat them up and you get enough credits to buy new moves, making the game kinda like a hybrid between a fighting game and an RPG. Now this is where the game gets really fun. The fighting mechanics are fantastic, with punches, kicks, blocks, and combo moves. For a Game Boy game with only 2 buttons and a D-pad, that's quite an accomplishment. Each fighter also feels way different, so the combat system is quite addicting. But then, I got to where I got stuck. The dreaded castle. So as you saw before in this lovely overworld, seriously, I've seen some linear overworlds before in an RPG, but this one takes the cake. You'll soon realize that places like the playground and school will get you little to no credits. You need 1,000 just to buy a level 1 part, which means you'll have to fight, what, like 20 times to get one new move? So your first gamer instinct is to head to other places on the overworld. And on these levels, the castle and the factory, I got my ass handed to me. Seriously, these matches are really hard, and even after 14 years, I still can't beat them all the time. So I had to continue grinding at the school just so I could get one freaking part. And that's where the problems begin to start for this game. You see, the 5 models you chose at the beginning of the game are the only models you'll fight in the entire game. Dead serious. So going back and grinding against the same models and the same modelers with really crappy one-liners just gets repetitive and boring. But we'll get back to this more later. So after fighting the same guys for a while, a cutscene told me about a group of thugs called the Hyena Gang. These guys walk around the same crappy overworld trying to steal the modelers', well, models. These are a few of the events that will happen in the game before the national tournament, which is pretty much just an attempt to mix up the formula a bit. So you take care of these guys and go back to talk to the kids on the playground, only to find a colonel and a general hassling little kids. Okay. So after I beat the colonel, he says, and I quote, "I'm so sorry. I will blow myself up to make amends." This game is E for everyone, right? Yeah, okay. I'm done with this. Power Quest. I need a freaking power nap. No! I have to finish this game. It's the last thing I do. Wario. My channel's all about giving truths to the world about video games, to tell someone if the game is really crap or gold. And in order to do that, I have to face one of my biggest fears. Beating the game that I thought I could never beat. So, let's freaking do this! Oh, my knee. So when I went back to play, it was pretty much the same cycle. Grind in 20 or so fights, have some weirdos fight you, and have awkward conversations with Lewis, rinse and repeat. About the only interesting thing that happened in the story was when Lewis spontaneously says he's going to move. The next day. I mean, come on, who just goes to their kid, "Oh son, pack your bags, forget your dreams of becoming a good modeler. Tomorrow, we're headed for Canada." Best parents ever. Anyway, when you fight him, you get this joke battle with the only robot you can't buy. Borat. Get it? I mean, literally, all this robot can do is punch, nothing else. It's just pathetic. I can see why his parents wanted him to move now. So after some questionable dialogue, are these kids gay or something? He leaves crying and it's time for the final battle. Now, were you expecting some awesome boss at the end? You know, that was kind of different than the 5 models you've been facing the whole game? Well, nope. Prepare to be disappointed. It's time to meet Don Quixote. Not even kidding you. Why am I even playing? Well, there's no words for this. Just, you fight him and it's over. Now this ending, however, really speaks out to me about the quality of game I'm playing. When I looked up someone playing the game online, I found this top comment, which pretty much nailed it. So I'm going to read it to you. Most disturbing ending ever. You've got to fight a wrestler in a toy robot fighting game, and realize that you now have to fight this guy and remember your gay boyfriend Lewis. Yep, seems about right. So now that we're done with that, let's just freaking get with the review. Santa must have really freaking hated me that year. First up is fun. Now this game falls into something I like to call the jack of all trades, master of none syndrome. The fighting part of this game is great, but the limited amount of characters and variety make it super repetitive. The RPG portion of the game, however, is altogether poor at best. The fact that you have to level grind repeatedly against the same 5 fighters the whole game while treading through a horribly translated story makes it more of a chore than anything remotely close to fun. If it was just a straight shot with no grinding and more credit drops, I actually would have really enjoyed it. But instead we get this. Check minus. Second up is looks, and this game's okay for a Game Boy Color game. The backgrounds are nice, the models have tons of animations, and the characters, they're interesting. Not really much to talk about here. Check. Third up is sound, and oh man, this soundtrack was what kept me going. Every song is just so good. The battle themes, the overworld, man, when you enter a freaking password, every track went immediately on my iPod. I mean, you should know anyway, you've kind of been hearing it the whole video. Check plus. And fourth up is length. Now with all the grinding involved, this game should take you about 5 hours. But that easily could have been replaced by an awesome 1-hour quest with multiple playthroughs using different models. And then of course there's the endless one-player mode, but since there's no end or high scores or anything, there's really no point to it besides practicing. So with everything taken into account, I'll give it a check minus. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this game a check minus, or a mediocre. If I can know how to spell that. Nope, meteors. So today, I learned a very valuable lesson. Some things are just better left in the past. You know, I wanted to check out this game again because I remembered how awesome of a soundtrack it had, And when I actually did play it, it drove me to the brink of insanity. But at least now, I can rest peacefully knowing that this Christmas, I created a new amazing memory, spending it with all you guys on this special day. So, for everyone, have a very Merry Christmas and a jolly good New Year. Or a new night. I don't know how it goes, but this is getting awkward, so just skedaddle, skadoosh. Bye.